pleasure to have you with us today, Mr. Giancarlo Giuseppe Alessandro Esposito.
Bene.
Is that good?
Bene.
Oh.
Perfetto.
Oh, thank you so much. We're honoured to have you here. I think you're recognisable the world over for what you've done, for the quality of the projects that you've been involved with, for the characters you've brought to life in a way that really is quite unique. Obviously, the first one that comes to mind for me is Gus from Breaking Bad, but it also in Better Call Saul. Also, you're doing Megalopolis with Francis Ford Coppola,
I sure am.
which sounds really extraordinary.
Interesting project.
Now, we're going to get to the questions, the 20 Mr. Feelgood questions that get to the heart of who you are in a moment, but I wanted to ask you a little bit about your sort of mindful perspective and meditation and yoga, because we're about wellness, we're about finding out and supporting who we are authentically. So can you give me a little bit of an insight into that?
Well, part of why I'm here is because of what you stand for. I think it's necessary for us to be exposed to it. Because I also feel we live in a world where we're not encouraged to be authentic or organic. We're encouraged to keep up with the Joneses,
Right.
or to be successful, and that's measured in certain terms. For me, I think as I get more mature, I realize that it's not that I don't care less, it's that I care more by finding my root inside. And not having to impress anyone on a level that I thought I did years ago, enjoying my craft and my work, but also enjoying my life of mindfulness. And that means checking in. I never knew how to do that. It took a long time for me to learn how to be on my own, and what did that mean? And I quickly realized that I'm among the band or the army of workaholics, as
Right.
I can imagine maybe
Right.
you are too.
Yeah.
And so then we have to slow ourselves down to look inside, to go, take a breath, take a deep breath. And so my meditation practice came about. The link was Gustavo Fring. I had meditated for years before that.
Okay.
And then as I was creating that role and thinking about who that character was,
Okay.
I thought the writing is so good, but this guy's rhythm as a character is different. So I started by whispering his lines and then having his voice come to me. But there was still something else that I wanted. And it was the awkwardness of the uncomfortable moment. And that takes space.
Yeah.
And so I realized something about myself, and probably true for many others, is that we're uncomfortable with space. So we fill it with an awkward laugh or a ha-ha or whatever it is. And I decided not to do that with Gus. Instead of that awkwardness, to fill that awkward space was a breath,
Right.
and an investigation. So my life changed, and I use that every day on the set, which helped me to realize that my life shouldn't be any separate from my work. If I would like my work to deepen.
Amazing answer, and you've kind of skipped 3 of my questions. So it's perfect, so thank you. And I'm already thinking about so many more questions that I'd love to ask you, but another time. Okay, well look, let's jump into it. We've got 20 questions, as much or as little as you, however you want to listen. Who the fuck are you?
I am a compassionate, loving, sensitive, creative, artistic human being.
Right on.
I am not who I was yesterday. I am in progress. I am a collaborator. I am growing. I'm inquisitive. I'm in wonder, and I am in joy and expectation.
Oh, it's beautiful. You are, from the time we've had this morning, it's been so obvious that you have such joy and you have such curiosity about life, and also such enthusiasm for life. So I would think that tomorrow you're not going to be who you are today, and that's the part of it that's so enjoyable, no?
It really is. I'm also a perfectionist. I also love my craft. So I'm a striver and a seeker. So then if I'm a striver and a seeker, I'm always looking, right? But I realized that I can look less and be inside and still strive and seek, but realize that every moment is different. It won't be the same. I grew up on the Broadway stage doing 8 shows a week, and you have a great show tonight. And the next night comes and I want to have a great show because last night was so great. But that's our human nature.
Yeah.
But tonight's show will be different. It may be greater, right? So we forget that our expectation of what we'd like to have happen, to be as great as, we leave out the fact that it could even be greater.
Yeah, exactly. Great. How are you feeling right now?
I feel great.
Okay. Where did you grow up and what was it like?
I was born in Copenhagen, Denmark, but I grew up in Rome, Italy. And it was a world that I came to know outside of my familial existence, with 2 different languages being spoken in our home. It was a world of artistry and music. My father was worked in the opera house and played classical music constantly. My mother was an opera singer. So I was taken on a journey of poetry, music, prose, and that's what I heard growing up. I grew up in a society that spoke in Italy primarily, but also in Hamburg, Germany. So there were many different languages that I didn't understand, but yet it had a depth and breadth and poetic nature that spurned my imagination as a boy. And that to me helped to feed my love of creativity.
Right on. What excites you?
Living, learning something new, being in a situation that I have no clue what it's about. Being in a situation where I give up my control in regard to my inquisitive nature. As I get older, let me just qualify for me. As I get older, the tendency seems to be that I've lived long enough that I know more. It's exactly the opposite.
I agree, absolutely.
And so I want to prove that, I know about that. Like we're associators as human beings. We really just repeat each other. I'll leave here today and repeat 5 things you said because I dug them, because I dig you. But maybe I'll leave today and think about those 5 things you said that I like and even further it. Further exemplify my thought form and yours. So I'd like to be more honest always and understand I don't know anything about that. Then the door opens where I can learn more about what that is.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel the older I get, the less I know. And it's all the stuff I don't really care about anyway, because it's all about quality to me and learning things, whether could be anything. I'm interested, what scares you?
My greatest fears is that I would become like my father. My greatest joy is that I'm exactly like my father. And my fear is that and I loved him dearly, he's passed on, is that my greatest fear is that I won't progress and I won't learn and that I won't be as open as I am right now. And I think about it because as much as I love my father, I think of him as in a certain way. And I understand the world in which he came from. So if you don't progress and don't move forward, and thank God I have 4 incredible daughters who look at me and go, they say a couple of things. One of the things they say to me is, Papa, you are extra.
Oh, man.
And I go, I know.
That's victory.
You're just so extra. And they also say, you have no clue. And they try to express to me, don't you get it? Like you're a pop culture icon. And I go, I do get it, but I don't really need to get it.
Right on, that's great.
I don't really need to get it. It's cool, it's great. I just want to commit to what I do and love it. But they just tell me and encourage me to take it in, which I'm starting to do without taking it into a place of ego, but taking it into a place of heart space. Because when people love what you do and they admire your work, much like when I go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and I look at a Picasso, I look at a Calder and or I look at an artist I've never seen before and I go, you gotta be kidding me. That's love.
Yeah.
And it's a sharing of love to be able to express it to someone while they're still alive.
Absolutely beautiful. How cool though to have 4 daughters saying that to you on both at that, and for you to be so aware to give them that response. I think it's extraordinary. What is your proudest achievement?
My proudest achievement is my children. And it's more than that. It's my relationship to them. Like I swear I've just started to listen to them. Like when they say something to me, Papa, it would be nice if you didn't speak to me that way. When I'm trying to be a father, that means I'm not being the complete father I could be, because Papa, it's your tone. Not so much what you say, it's your tone. Or Papa, you're a bully. Woo!
Wow, that's a hard one.
I look at him, I go, yeah, I'm a bully. I apologize. You start to listen and take in what they say so that I can find a new way to be, and to be comfortable with it, not to fake it, but to be really comfortable. And then, so I extend it. Yes, I'm a bully. And then most recently, my second child looked at me gravely, Papa, what happened to you when you were a little boy? So I then explain, I get it. My father was a bully. And it's no reason for me to be a bully, but certain things that you observe sometimes come into you and you use them. And then I went on to say, so I use that bulliness sometimes when I do my work. I play a quiet villain who in some ways is a bully, you know, but a manipulative bully. So once I'm open up to talk about those things, it heals me.
Yeah.
And I'm able to have a different relationships with my daughters because of that.
Extraordinary. I love that you're so open and you're so present and you're so truthful about your existence, which we all should be, because we've only got this one shot, so why not take it all, warts and all, and grow with it, right? Amazing. What is the hardest thing you've ever done?
Admitting that I was wrong and making a correction.
Okay.
Across the board, one of the hardest things to do. Admitting that my world revolved completely around me. And going, I can't fix that. And I say, you know, to my children and folks in general sometimes, and even to myself, you're only seeing it through this prism that is you. So of course it revolves around you. It's how much you invest and attach your ego to that. And I've been there where, you know, it's just all about me. And I finally started to see and to live it differently, which has me enjoying it more. Like I love all the attention, but part of me is like, I don't want the attention. No, don't pick at me, leave me alone. You know what I mean? I got this, you know, because to really take it in that you thinking that you're somebody is a great thing, because I empower people that you have to realize and understand that you are powerful. You are organically beautiful. You're original. There's no one like you. You can do anything you want to do in the world. That's a fine line between getting the notoriety and becoming famous, a pop culture icon or whatever else. Balancing that knowledge with the knowledge that you're exactly the same. You could be nobody, but I feel genuinely that you're exactly the same. So it's how I use that in my world and my life. And it's become very important for me to realize it. Look, I play this guy, Gustavo Fring, and my joke with myself is, and I think it's kind of true, because in the world, I'm Gus Fring. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do, because people believe that. I've done it so well that people in the world, they believe that. They step aside for me. And I kind of laugh and giggle now, because it's like, and then they go, huh? That's not Gus Fring.
Right.
But people call me Gus on the street, you know?
Right.
And I realize, so I guess what I'm really saying to cull it all down is this is all a play of consciousness. Your consciousness, my consciousness, all of our consciousness. It's how you see it. And will be it.
Right on. Yeah, exactly. Interesting. Fabulous. Okay. When was this period when you sort of the hardest time, when you realized you said you were wrong? Is this something in the last 10 years?
I think it's
15
been,
years?
look, I'm a divorced father of 4. You know, my marriage didn't go the way I always dreamed and thought it would. Did I make a mistake? Yeah. And how do I make that correction and understanding that? How do I help someone heal that I didn't do the right thing with? How do I understand that and heal myself? How does my forgiveness for all of the wrong moves I made, the ill communication, how does that forgiveness tie into being forgiven? You know, at the moment I realized I got to forgive myself for being on the road and not communicating and becoming distant and having my career be more important, but my kids be most important. And you know, they say go home and kiss the wife first.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you kiss your kids.
Yeah.
Right? So learning all of that wasn't easy for me. And to understand over the last 5 years that you can recover from any mistake, it depends on what your intention is. Like my intention is to be with my family. And that is inclusive of my former wife and my children. We're really close. My intention is to be a father, but also a friend. My intention is to be a confider. My intention is to have my door open for people who need it and to be honest and true about that without losing my own personal boundaries.
Perfect. Who was your greatest mentor and what did they teach you?
In the work that I do, my greatest mentor creatively as an actor, one of them as a dramatic actor was Sidney Poitier. He mentored me from afar without knowing it. When I first saw him on film, my mother knew him. I didn't know him, I knew him tangentially through her, but never met him until I became an adult. And the reasons were that he carried himself as a man with dignity, with grace, aplomb, intelligence, all of who he was. He didn't put any away. I came up at a time where African Americans weren't really first and foremost in theater and television and film. And so I learned how to take a part of me away and become the guy with the gun, the thug who robbed the old lady, you know, the drug addict. I learned that, and to be less than enough. And when I saw Sidney as I was growing up, I went, this guy's not living in his skin, his color. He's living as a human being. And it was the thing that I wanted the most about my own career. So I learned how to play Spanish folks and African Americans and different people with a grace and a aplomb and a quality that would lift people up when they saw it, and they didn't go right to that black guy, you know, or that Spanish guy. And so Sidney Poitier became a great mentor. I was at an Oscar party maybe 4 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and he was there, and it was one of those moments. And I went, just, you know, I know how it is that I've had 4 rises to start and people, you know, rush you and know who you are, and I went, let it be. But I kept clocking immediately, and the magnetism, you know, and I could see he was making his way for the door, and I just had to make a decision, and I approached him.
Oh, thank goodness, go on.
And he turned around and looked at me, and I clearly and succinctly, without rushing or being nervous, took a deep breath, and I said, I want to just tell you, I see that you're leaving how much you mean to me, and how you affected me as a creative artist, as a man, as a human being. And, you know, in those situations when people are coming at you, I know for me, I'm sometimes trying to get away. And he did a quarter turn and put his hand up to whoever was in front of him, turned to me completely, and listened to everything I had to say. And he thanked me, and he was just the most gracious human being. In that moment, someone took a picture. Which I got, which was I never asked for or wanted, because I would remember that forever. And I have a black and white of me in Sydney. And I went, he said culturally, talked about himself for a quick moment. It was also very brief. But he really took in what I was saying and was proud to have inspired my career.
Elegance, grace, right? And truth.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Who are your fictional and real life heroes?
Wow. My real life heroes are spiritual men. I've been reading, you know, so I love the journey of Yogananda.
Me too.
I mean, Yogananda is one of my favorite humans because he was so open to coming to America and sharing a new way of thinking, a simplicity about breathing and yoga, a practice, the way he lived his life. He seemed realized and very spiritual. And his book is everything that I could want from my life, because it's a travel log of the world.
Incredible.
It's not just a book that says, hey, go meditate, let me tell you these stories, I'm a great being. It's telling you his life, his masters, you know, Lahiri Mahasaya, who, you know, looked like a little Irish elf. I mean, so many folks in his book, Upateshwar, his master, like, so his story, and so devilishly lightly told, that took you around all of India, is just always awe-inspiring to me.
And Europe as well.
And Europe as well.
Is extraordinary.
Yeah.
What is your favorite item of clothing in your wardrobe?
Right now it's a Prada coat. It's a cashmere. I wore it today. It was in one of these chairs. Did you steal it?
I did.
it's a Prada coat. It's one of my favorites. I like material. I'm very tactile. So materials, I can feel them. I'm very sensitive. And I think I've realized that I've always been very sensitive, but I seem to be even more sensitive to material, to feel, to touch, to energy. And so it's an interesting thing. I used to, when I was married and home in the household, I'd come off the road, and my former wife, the lovely Joy, I would never look in the mirror. I'd grow a beard, and she'd come up, and you know how mothers do, you know, and I would pull away, and for years, and I'd pull away, and I finally went, why don't you share with her why you do that, so she doesn't think you're rejecting her? And I told her, that's my life every day. Folks walk up, they don't even ask, they start powdering me and straightening me, and you know, and that's how it is in what I do. So just know that that's a reaction to my everyday life.
What music did you love age 13, and do you still love it now?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, age 13, Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, I still love it now. Meatloaf. You know, I still love it now. Marvin Gaye. You know, and Stevie Wonder. Classics. Still do love it. I feel like there's a certain period of time where music is really something that is indelible in our beings as we grow up. I grew up with classical music and opera, so I do still love that a great deal, and I'm always inspired by that. I think music is the juice of our lives.
I always think that when I'm dead, what I'll miss most is nature and music and art and the love of my family. But you know, you've got to take it. You can't take it for granted. You've got to sort of take it as medicine every day if you can.
That's right.
Make room for it.
Yeah.
What's the most inspiring book you've ever read? Autobiography of a yogi?
It is. That has been the most inspiring. Also, there's another book called The Religions of Man, which helped me to understand. It's a book that it's very old. That covers many different Jainism, Catholicism, all these different Hebrew, all these different religions, which helped me to understand the division between people over religion, and then Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, the 5 stages of death, death and dying, on death and dying. It's just it's amazing. It helped me to have less fear surrounding transition, and G.I. Gurdjieff, George Ivanov Gurdjieff.
Okay, forgive me, I don't know.
Being there, you'll look him up now. A great Armenian Russian meditator, Sufi dancer, and passion play director in many ways, but he was basically a yogi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Insane. What is a movie that left a lasting impression on you? One, can you?
Yeah. I have a few. One is The Best Years of Our Lives. Very powerful movie about 3 veterans in different parts of the service who come home. Myrna Loy, Frederick March, just a wonderful Myrna Loy, Dick Powell. Anyway, it's a great movie. and it's a wonderful life.
Oh yeah, I mean everything.
It has everything.
Everything.
It has the triumph, the struggle, the determination, the courage, the passion, and for someone who is in trouble to be standing on that bridge, getting ready to jump, and to turn that around, then you know what life's really about.
Okay. What is your favorite word? But you don't have to.
Ask for what you want.
Ooh.
People ask me, did you ever realize you'd be where you are right now? And I used to be, I'm humble and say, you know, I never imagined. But in the truth of the matter is, yes, I always knew.
Yeah.
I just started to find out how to ask for what I wanted
Right on.
in my thought form and invite it. Not bullet out, invite it. Work my craft, get really good, and then there's gonna be no denying it.
Right on.
It's gonna come.
Right on.
And so, you know, when people ask me that, I don't want to sound like an asshole. Like, you know what I mean? But if that's what I sound like,
No,
I
no.
knew this from the time I was on Broadway at 9 years old.
Right on.
And I knew it wouldn't be on Broadway. I do 13 Broadway musicals. I knew it would be in some other way, and I knew I'd be known. But that didn't drive me. What's driven me is the different characters and different people I get to play. It helped me. An acting teacher said to me, another favorite saying, acting is a way of healing your personality. I've healed this crazy dude. I've healed this dude who wanted it all to be about him.
Yeah.
I healed the guy who's like, what? I'm not rich? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, dude, look at me, I'm royalty, motherfucker. Right? Expecting it, wanting it. My father was like that.
Yeah.
Smart enough.
Yeah.
Charismatic enough. Like, I deserve it. Well, you know, we all have to earn it, but we have to earn it I have to earn it for me first. And if I've earned it for me, I've earned it for everyone.
Okay, what do you want people to say about you at your funeral?
What a dick.
There'll be loads! No, really.
What an asshole. So I got two daughters together in Phoenix, right? And so and they were oil and water, so they're together. And there's a little beautiful picture next to my eldest daughter's bed, and my second daughter took a picture of it, and I remember it to exactly what it is. It's me and Shane Lira, and it looks like a mess on the front of it. And she said, "This is so cute that Shane has this picture of you two by her bed." But she explained to me the reason why it's deteriorating is because when she grew up, when she was mad at you, she'd stick her gum on your face. And she'd pull it off and stick it back whenever she was mad. I thought that was really hysterical.
That's a work of art.
Oh my gosh. You know, that's such a very intense question that you asked.
It is, yeah.
And I feel as if what comes to me is that, you know, to be remembered in a certain way is honorable. And there's judgment in whether what is said is good or bad. He transcended life in a most graceful way. I think those are the words that come to me. Right. I'm a very open-hearted person, if you can't already see that.
Clearly, yeah.
But there's the other side too. And so the side that I want to be remembered for both. And to know that I started in one place and I ended in another. Merrily We Roll Along, Stephen Sondheim, Hal Prince. It's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Beautiful. Well, last 5 questions and the quick fire questions. Favorite car?
1969 Plymouth Valiant.
What color?
Maroon.
Okay. What color interior?
Black.
Okay. Sports team?
New York Yankees.
Okay. Meal?
Roasted salmon on top of arugula with olive oil, salt, and pepper.
Oh, I'm hungry. Grooming product?
Oh my gosh, grooming product. Oh, I'd have to say Scuff.
I love Scuff too.
It's my go-to all around because it has a certain consistency and it leaves my hair in a nice place. I have had to explain to my lovely groomer that sometimes I don't use it because I want my hair to look different, like kind of pasty or otherwise. But that's been my latest one I like.
And it smells good too.
It smells great.
Clothing label.
Haha.
Excuse me?
What? I think I'm speaking French.
Oh.
Zenya.
Zenya. Okay.
Zenya.
Well, listen, we're done. Bless you. Thank you for being so open, so kind, so rich in your character. You really, you're a remarkable. So I'm so pleased to meet you. And thank
Lovely
you for
to meet you.
sharing.
I've heard so much about you, and
Bless you.
what a pleasure. And thank your team for being so graceful.